Now, some people ask, why is it important? So why is it important? There's a few things. Again, in a blog post, I'll go through why, the reasons why we should all have goals. The most apparent thing for me why do we need goals is it forms a hook. You cast your goals out into the future. Now, once it's there with an intention out into the future, and it's something that pulls you forward, towards it. Now, why am I saying this? This seems so kind of childish, and it doesn't really kind of make sense. Is it just airy fairy? Is it there's no science behind this stuff? But I've experienced it in my life. As far as I can remember, first kind of 20, even up to 30 years of my life, never really had goals. It was just rolling from one year to the other, just kind of reacting. If you don't have a plan, it's highly likely that you will fall into somebody else's plan. If you don't have a plan, it's highly likely that you will fall into somebody else's plan. Now, what does that mean? That means that you're going to be reacting as opposed to taking a proactive stance, doing it. If you want to progress and grow, have goals, write them down. Now, the second thing I want to cover is the idea of this. I mentioned about this, the GPS. Once you have the goal, you've thrown it, you've casted it out into the future, right? In the same way that the GPS works, Google Maps, I talked about this. Google Maps, the way it works is that first it needs to identify where you are now. So it assesses where you are now. Again, in like I said at the beginning, to have an intention to set goals is actually to start questioning yourself and to start to kind of go into yourself, to allocate that time to do self-introspection. In that process, you are engaging with yourself, so you understand, okay, where am I at now? So you start to ask questions. What am I doing? Where am I at now? So in the same way that Google Maps or any of these GPS systems work, they need to locate where you are now. The second thing is the goal. You cast it in the future. What's your destination? So they understand, okay, I need to get to this point. I am here, I need to get to this point. It then calibrates different permutations of how to get there. And I guess that's the way life works. If you have an intention of where you want to get to, you understand where you are now. You might have a preference, you might have an idea in your head. Okay, you might say, okay, I want to get there. I've set this time and this exact thing that I want to achieve. I'm here. The way that I think I should get there is through doing this. So you might have a preferred route. But the way that Google Maps works, if you know Google Maps, is it gives you different permutations. Sometimes as you go along a path, halfway through you might say, actually there's a slightly better route because there's traffic up ahead. It knows there's traffic up ahead. It will try to kind of give you an option to deviate you from your initial path to go onto an alternate route. At that point, you have an option. You have an option to keep pushing forward and accept that there's going to be congestion up ahead, or you say, okay, there's a detour that I'm going to take, and isn't it exciting? Okay, let's take a detour. Why not? It will still get me to my destination, but I will have to go through a detour. And sometimes these detours are people take it in two ways. People take it as something which is, okay, my goal isn't working. My goal setting isn't working. Why am I, deviating off this path which I initially set up on? But other people like myself will say, fantastic, I get to go on a free trip to know another route. So you might go through neighborhoods that you haven't been through, and you learn things and you grow. So that's the way I look at things. So in the same way that goals actually provide you the next item, which is it starts to create a GPS for you, for your life. If you don't have, without the goal, it's just drifting. So goals are important